So let's see what we have here. I ordered 2 items. Alright, so here we go. This is what we have. And let's go compare that to what's in the truck. This is what we have here. It's gray and silver. This was a pretty base model truck, so I don't know if this was originally chrome at one point and it's just faded, or if that's actually what it was originally. As you can see here, the only difference in the cluster assembly here is the fact that this truck, although it is a very base truck, doesn't even have a radio. It actually had the wiper or the washer, and it's noted on the bezel here as wiper washer, whereas the replacement only says wipers. But we actually have the choke option as well as the lights, obviously. But the reason I got the replacement bezel was because this one is cracked. It's broken out at the bottom screw here, and I could repaint it, but it was like 30 some bucks. So I figured, why not? Now let's go see what else is in the box. We have a Tach and vacuum conversion kit. So I figured, you know what? While I've got this thing apart to repair the speedometer, or at least lube the speedometer, I might as well just fix it, upgrade it. Granted, I probably would have preferred a bezel without the chrome, but being that this is a base model truck and the only chrome on this truck anywhere is the door handles and the surrounds on some of the lights, so whatever. But what we have here is the complete inner and outer gauge housing compatible with the speedometer. We have the replacement lens. We've got the 5,000 RPM speedometer, vacuum gauge. We have the backing plate, which the vacuum gauge will mount to, as well as oil pressure. We have the harness for the speedometer. Under here we have the printed circuit assembly for the unit, since it is different because it has the hole in the center here to allow for the connections to the Tach. We have the actual Tach itself, as well as the vacuum gauge. First step is to remove these 3 knobs, and each one is removed differently. Our wiper washer knob has a small flathead set screw in it. The choke knob threads on, and the light switch, as a typical light switch does, has a little button on the switch that you have to press in and pop out the knob. We'll start with our wiper washer here. And alright, let's try our choke knob here. Okay, that's kind of loose as well. That's good. This is going to be two-handed because I have to pull the switch out and press the button in at the same time, so I'm going to do this one off camera. Alright, so the light switch is disconnected, and in this particular truck the little button you have to press in is on the top, and the way to get that out is to turn the lights on completely, pulling the switch all the way out, press the button down, pull it the rest of the way out. Alright, let's get that off there. To actually remove the cluster, we first have to remove this little metal plate on the bottom of the steering column, and then the little rubber surround here on the steering column slides up. There is 6 screws, one on this side, one on the opposite side, 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom right under the steering column here. The other thing we have to do is remove the speedometer cable, which is just a nut that should be only finger tight. So I stand corrected here, which is most often the case. So there are a couple more things we need to disconnect besides the speedometer cable. I completely forgot about the electrical connection. The electrical connection to the gauge cluster, which is this little clip here. Simply squeeze in on it and pull it right out. And we have an oil pressure gauge, which is of the mechanical type. So there is a copper or steel line going directly to the output of the oil pump. That needs to be removed. Unfortunately, we can't access it. We actually have to pull the cluster out a bit in order to get to it. Use your own judgment on how you remove that. Here is the connection for the oil pressure gauge, and it looks as though it's been removed. The gauges have been removed in the past. I'll remove that small nut at the back. We should be able to pop this cluster right out.